First of all, I have to tell just on that last story. A year ago on Long Beach, you had told us a story about how Esther's car got the window knocked out in the back. I walked out of the seminar.
The valet parking man drove it out of the garage, pushed the button at the same time, and tore the window off.
Well, as I left the seminar, I went out to the parking lot, and somebody had broken into my car, stole my dashboard and my 2 back seats. So thank you very much for that one. Instantly, like that.
So we'll take credit for the projection of the thought. But if there's not a receiver, then you don't hear the tree falling in the forest.
And so that's my first question. When we tell a somewhat negative story and people are receiving that, isn't it better to tell a more uplifting story?
Always.
Okay, so the story you just told was about something negative that we might go get tickets now if we
Well, we could
receive
just stand here and never say anything. In other words, about how you manage to mold the clay. No one ever takes a big clump of clay and throws it down and says, oh, it didn't turn out right. Figuring out how to mold it is part of the process. So are you suggesting that we shouldn't ever explain anything that has ever happened to Esther that helped her realize that she has turned her thoughts to things?
No, but I want to know why, because that made it interesting to me that you
But you see, you can't hear a story. If someone's projecting something and you're hearing it or thinking about it for the first time, you have a strong habit of receiving something before it manifests.
Okay.
Esther knew when that happened with that window, she knew many thoughts that she'd been thinking. In other words, she didn't just show up and have lunch one day and the valet parker did that. She knew that she had thoughts of vulnerability about her beautiful vehicles. She doesn't like them getting bumped or scratched or things like that. She knew, and she's gone a long way in cleaning that vibration up. This is why we say we want you to never feel uncomfortable about something that manifests. Instead, feel satisfied that now you are able to make the correlation between the vibration that you've been offering and the manifestation that's happening. How else are you going to know? When a child is learning to walk and falls down, you don't say, get up, you little dummy. You expect them to be able to find their balance, and that's really what we're talking about here.
My next question is, your kindness, Esther's thought to this woman, was in a good place from her heart to help. And sometimes that's very good, and you are able to help other people, but in this case, you said...
But you see, Esther never helps anyone, and you don't either. You never help anyone by looking at them in their plight. Because looking at them in their plight makes you a cooperative component in continuing the continuation of the things that are not going well in their life. The benefit that does come from it is you do launch a rocket of desire. Esther does wish well for that woman.
Is there a way she could have looked at it that could have benefited more than that for her and the other people? Or was it just, I wish her well and that's look the other way?
We can't give you a pat answer for every case. Because in every case, it has to do with your relationship with who you are and what you really want. Esther can hardly stand it when people are unnecessarily mean to other people. And Esther firmly believes in freedom. She really wants people to be free. She also understands that there are agreements that make the world work better. And so Esther's got a sort of jumbled vibration about how people should behave and about how people should be treated. Esther moves through life and rarely sees an accident or someone being pulled over. And so she had to have the experience to make her realize that this isn't something that she wants to make active in her vibration. There are lots of movies that she doesn't want to see. She watched a whole season of zombies and now she's expecting them in her bedroom at night. You get what you think about. You do. You get what you think about. You get what you think about. But there's no risk. You got plenty of leeway and latitude. And when you look at your life, when you evaluate, a common statement for Esther is, look at all of the thousands of things that are so well, and occasionally something is wonky. Well, let's get that into perspective, you see. But that's after many, many years of really caring about how she feels and trying to direct her thoughts. It's just about practicing. Esther certainly is not perfect at it, and we have never pronounced her as perfect at it. In fact, Esther has asked us a time or two through the years if we could ratchet the stories back just a little bit. Something will happen, and she'll say, oh, Abraham will blab about that one. But the reason is because we want you to understand the correlation between what you're thinking and how you're feeling and what's manifesting. We want you to accomplish, if you want it, your own vibrational control of your own point of attraction. Because you didn't come to just drift around like a cork on a raging sea, just going wherever the current and wind blows you. You came to direct your life experience. You are brilliant consciousness, and you have the ability to create your own reality.
And that gets to my point, is I have so many wonderful thoughts, and I have such freedom and financial abundance, and I have opportunity to do anything I want, and I can manifest galloping down the beach in Cancun on a horse, eating an ice cream of caramel salted. I mean, I could, to detail. But there's so many opportunities and things. Sometimes my focus isn't as clear as I'd like it to be, because
now you're getting to something that really matters, and that is focus. And that's why when we come back from segment of refreshment, we want to begin by talking about this receptive mode and how you get there and what it means in terms of your desire. Because sometimes you think that once you've got a desire, it's just a matter of figuring out how to bring it about. And of course, that is part of what we're talking about here. But there's a more important thing, and that is what caused my desire to be born to begin with. What life experience did I live that caused my vortex to churn up this desire? And most important question of all, have I been hovering in the vibrational vicinity of my source long enough that I will even recognize what my true desires are? Because bringing those desires into focus is the first important step in the process then of them turning to things. And so if you're at a place where you're saying, I really don't know what I want, I'm not sure what I want, then that means your thoughts are this way and this way and this way, and you're not allowing any of them to be strong enough without resistance to come into a stronger view. Because once they come into a stronger view, if you're not offering any resistance, they are going to play out. We want to say to you, and we don't want to hurt your feelings or insult you in any way, but this is so much easier than you're letting it be. Because the laws of the universe are bringing your desires to a place. All you got to do is be happy long enough that you receive the desire, and then you're off and running. But if you're at a place where you're saying, I don't really know what I want, then that means you've got enough of this and this and this and this and this and this going on that you're not allowing the natural resources of law of attraction to bring it into a strong enough focus, because it will come. Here, we'll say it. It is, your vortex is producing poignant, pointed, specific desires. And if you don't know what they are, then you're not in the vicinity of the receptive mode as much as you really want to be. We'll talk about that when we come back from segment of refreshment. We also want to say to you,
because that's the key, is the focus on what you want. So my focus will make it happen.
but what we want to say is, we want to diffuse the word focus. We want to say, you don't have to focus, just stop doing that thing that doesn't let you focus. If you're not complaining, you're more likely to focus. And if you're not worried, you're more likely to focus. The law of attraction causes the focus to be. It just causes the focus to be. We think what happens with a lot of you, you've just been trained to be so objective about things that you focus on what you want, and then you focus on the fact that it hasn't come. And you focus on what you want, and then you focus on the fact that it's... And so you're diffusing your own focus with your focus. This is a really good time for a segment of refreshment.